What it was, cuz your boy Clinton K. Williams coming at you with another episode of No Offense Intended. Here again, why you, Chiquayo? How are you?
I'm doing great, Clinton. Nice seeing you again, like always.
It's MLB time, baby.
It is.
Baseball scene, the Chicago Cubs, we got some new players. Talk about Jason Heyward and how he's going to bring an edge to the
I think he's
Chicago
definitely
Cubs.
an upgrade over Dexter Fowler in center fielder. Even though Heyward is not a center fielder, he was a right fielder last year in St. Louis, and he was very good at it. Even though he doesn't hit 40 home runs a year like some other outfielders like Bryce Harper and Mike Trout do, but he can hit, and he's one of the most valuable players in baseball according to multiple statistics. I think he'll bring a really, really good season to the Cubs. I think that's what's going to put them over the edge of the playoffs. I think that's how they're going to get to the World Series. And you know what? They could win a World Series for once, Clinton.
Absolutely.
They could.
Last season, we saw how close they were with Jake Arrieta. He had one of the best pitchers in the MLB.
He had one of the best seasons in MLB history by
And John Lakey coming out of the St. Louis Cardinals, also at the pitching position, also a very good pitcher. How do you feel like, do you think that's going to be a conflict, two very good pitchers on the same team? Do you think that's going to be a benefit? How's that going to work out for us?
Don't forget about John Lester, too. He's also very good. He's thrown a no-hitter, too. He's also won a pair of World Series rings with the Boston.
Last season wasn't so good, but when he was on the A's, he was honestly one of the best pitchers in the league.
Yeah, he can be an ace. John Lester can. We've seen that in Boston with the Red Sox teams that have won World Series in 2007 and in 2013. I think we can see that with the Cubs because he is a good pitcher, Clinton. He is. But John Lackey, even though he is not the youngest pitcher in the world, he's in his 30s. He's in his late 30s. He still can pitch really well. And we saw that last year in Game 1 of the National League Divisional Series against the St. Louis Cardinals. He can still pitch, and I think, Clinton, you know what? He can still pitch very well.
And talk about the second baseman. Ben.
Well, Ben Zobrist is definitely a nice addition. I mean, I was very pleased when the Cubs traded Stalin Castro. I know it might sound like a total dweeb, but you know what? I just something didn't look right with Stalin Castro. We've heard the allegations of sexual assault, but we've heard that. But you know what? He had a great September. He did. He truly did, Clinton. But look at the other months from April to August. Look at his performance.
The second baseman and first baseman, the chemistry between him and Rizzo, how do you think that's going to play out this season?
Chemistry takes time, Clinton. It really does. But you know what? I think the Cubs, they are a very close team. We saw the Pajama Day party when they were in L.A. after Jake Arrieta's no-hitter. They are a very close team.
And there was also a princess party, I heard, too.
Yeah, you know what? That was also very fun. They have Joe Madden. He's a great manager overall, but he's even better with chemistry. He can get a team magnetized up. I just created a word, magnetized up.
And are there going to be any players this season that weren't really good last season that just step out and have a breakout season, do you think?
I think you should watch out for Addison Russell this year. I think he had a pretty good rookie season. I think he will go to the next level next year. I would not be surprised also if Chris Bryant hits 30 home runs this year. Anthony Rizzo hits 30 home runs this year. Addison Russell, he'll probably get a bit over 15 home runs this season. Kyle Schwarber, 27 home runs over.
So this is just going to be a home run derby team, you're saying?
Their lineup, parts of their lineup is built for that. They're 3 through 6 or 7 guys. They can hit the ball out of Wrigley Field. It's a ballpark that can be a nightmare for opposing pitchers.
And what a shirt you're wearing. Hopefully we can get a take October 2016 with the Cubs this season. Let's break away from baseball for a second. Let's talk about the NBA, the Chicago Bulls once again. Somebody I really love, one of my favorite players, Derrick Rose. And after the All-Star break, before the All-Star break, pretty much throughout the month of January and all of February, he's really been playing well, averaging 20 points per game and 5 assists. What does this mean with Derrick Rose? Do you think that this is going to be in the ongoing future, or is it just one of the Derrick Rose phases that we see again, that we are used to seeing at this point?
That depends on how he keeps playing. It takes time. You know what? He hasn't been the most consistent player since that ACL injury suffered. He has not been. I will tell you that now. He's not been a consistent player since that ACL injury. But if he keeps doing this, maybe he has changed. Maybe this is going to be the old Derrick Rose, but he will never be that Derrick Rose in the MVP season. He has had injuries that are very serious. An ACL tear. Has he had an Achilles tear?
No.
Or he had something else.
Meniscus.
Yeah, torn meniscus. Whatever. But you know what? He's not the same player. I don't care how many injuries you have. You are not the same player. Period.
When you say not the same player, are we talking about can he ever become that 25-8 player again, or are you saying he's never going to be that player with the flashy plays like he used to be?
There you go.
So if
flashy
he can
plays.
be the 25-8.
He can be.
In a different way.
Yeah, guys have come off ACL tears to have really good seasons.
It's almost crazy because it's as if Derrick Rose isn't a human being. Derrick Rose has had 2 meniscus tears and an ACL, major ACL tear in 2011.
They haven't been minors.
And then if you watch the way this man plays, the speed is ridiculous. If you watch him live, he bullets from one end of the court to the other end of the court in what was it, 4 seconds when he was on Sports Science?
It was quick.
He can go through gaps that are 2 feet wide. 2 feet wide, that's how fast he's going. I really feel like there's still a future in Derrick Rose's career. It might not be the same future that we saw, that he ultimately had the Russell Westbrook style of play. He was a Russell Westbrook style player, not as explosive, and he didn't take off at the same speed as Russell Westbrook does. But Derrick Rose was right there, and till this day, when Derrick Rose decides my body is feeling okay, I'm gonna go off, he goes off. Derrick Rose's Cleveland, I think it was 28 points.
Yeah.
And then 26 points the next night, and then 24 points against the Lakers. And that was just in this past week. Derrick Rose has been going off this post All-Star break. And I'm going to say that Derrick Rose still has a very good future in this league. It's talent like Derrick Rose doesn't come often enough. And when it does come, you can't just write it off because he's been injured. Unfortunately, there are injuries in this league. Has Derrick Rose ever been... Has he ever had a lack of skill?
No, he has a lot of skill.
His failure, has it ever been due to his lack of skill? No. It's always the injuries. So when people say, "Oh, we need to trade Derrick Rose to do this and trade Derrick," okay, let's do that. Let's trade him away. Let's play it safe and say, he doesn't have a future. Let's look into the future and say he doesn't have a future, so let's trade him away. Okay, let's say you trade him to the Brooklyn Nets
for a pick,
for a first-round pick, and then he starts destroying it over in the New York area. How stupid would you feel?
But that's the question. Can he be consistent? Period. We don't know if he's going to be this 26-8 guy that we've been talking about. We don't know that. I don't think he's going to be that way. I as much as I have a lot of respect for Derrick Rose, but I think this is just a phase.
I get so much heat for supporting Derrick Rose, day in and day out. Unfortunately, I have to agree with you that this is just a phase. But I believe that there is still a future in this man. He just needs it's a mentality. He needs to go through one season, injury free, one season, and I can almost assure you that he's going to come back the next season strong and be back on the All-Star team.
That's the question. Is it with the Chicago Bulls? I have watched
every Derrick Rose game. I'm not going to lie. At this point, I really feel like I'm more of a Derrick Rose fan than a Chicago Bulls fan. If Derrick Rose, if it's 6:55, 5 minutes away from the game, and I hear that Derrick Rose isn't playing, okay, I'm turning off the TV. I'm not watching. At this point, I'm not watching. Especially now that they're 500, why do I have to be there if Derrick Rose isn't playing? I've watched so much Derrick Rose that I would consider myself a Derrick Rose expert. But let's not talk too much about Derrick Rose. NCAA, it's late February. March Madness is coming around. There are teams like Oklahoma out there, Buddy Hields. There's some good players in this 2016 tournament. But what teams and what players pop out to you the most?
For some reason, I may be biased a bit, Clinton, but I like North Carolina. They have a lot of depth, and that's probably the only real reason I have. They also have experience. Marcus Page, he's a very good player. He is a very good player. I also, for some reason, I like Duke. Duke has Mike Krzyzewski, and anytime you have Mike Krzyzewski coaching, Clinton, they're going to have a chance.
also have Grayson Allen, who's
Grayson Allen.
Depending on who you talk to, he's never rated perfectly. Grayson Allen is always under or overrated.
And don't forget about Brandon Ingram. I think Brandon Ingram's going to be the second overall pick of the draft. That's how good he is. He can get Duke all the way down there. Duke is a very streaky team. They beat North Carolina in Chapel Hill this weekend at the Dean Smith Center. That's not easy. And a lot of people were giving up. I heard Jay Bilas said they're just going back to 4-point leads every time. But at the end, they had that lead at the end. Duke did.
Other than just Buddy Hield as an individual player, talk about Oklahoma State's chances.
Oklahoma's got a very good chance. Buddy Hield is I think he is the best player in the country this year. This year. I don't say he is the best player in the country.
Number 1 pick next year?
No, that'd belong to Ben Simmons of Louisiana State. Ben Simmons is going to be the number 1 pick.
So where do you see LSU in the picture?
I don't see them going that far. They have Ben Simmons, and he is an unbelievable talent. But they don't have the full team around Ben Simmons. That's the thing. And that's, I think, what's going to kill LSU's chances in the tournament.
Any other players that you can think of at this point?
Denzel Valentine of Michigan State. We saw Michigan State get to the Final Four last year. They had a really, really great season last year. Anytime you have Tom Izzo coaching, Clinton, you're gonna, like Mike Krzyzewski, you're going to have a chance to go down because of his great coaching ability in big games.
We can all agree that Duke isn't the same Duke team that we saw last year, but you were talking about Coach K. What do you think Coach K is going to do when it comes to March, play the tournament this March, and to be able to put his team in at least the Final Four? Because honestly, a championship once again is far from the picture.
Yeah.
Or the Sweet 16.
I think they just got to do what they've been doing recently. They've gritted out a lot of good wins against both Virginia, a ranked team, and also North Carolina, another ranked team. If they do what they do, Clinton, they do what they do the last couple of games, they will get there. They could get there to the Final Four. Do they win the national championship? No. I don't think they have enough. They have 2 really great players. Grayson Allen is a really great player. Is he a number 2 pick like Brandon Ingram? No. Brandon Ingram is a great player.
In all honesty, Grayson Allen's not going to be. He's amazing.
He's a very
not
great
be a lottery
player.
pick.
No.
He's not going to be a lottery pick.
I'd say number 17. That's a bit high for some people.
And going right back to LSU, Antonio Blanken.
I think if there's anybody with Ben Simmons, I think he is the best player. But they have 2 people. Okay, great. Just like Duke does. But the thing is, Mike Krzyzewski's the coach of Duke, not of LSU. I think at the end of the day, coaching experience, LSU hasn't won a national championship. They haven't even been that big of a program until Ben Simmons came to campus in Baton Rouge. So I think if it's Duke or LSU, I'd go Duke, but Blakeney is a great player, but I don't think they have enough beyond Simmons and Blakeney to compete for even a Sweet 16. I don't see them getting there.
In Iowa State, Coach Fred Hoiberg's former team, he had a good team under Iowa State, and they're still a good team with or without him this season, and they have one of the best power forwards in the NCAA game. Where do you see them going?
They were the number 1 team heading into the year. They were a very good team, a good Iowa State team. Do I see them going that far? No, I don't. Maybe to the round of 32, or whatever, the round of 64 or 32, or the second round. I just sense an upset with Iowa State. We've seen upsets for them this year.
Yeah.
I don't see them getting there. I don't see them taking that next step in order to win a national championship, because the last couple years with Fred Hoiberg and now, they've been a really great program. Even better, perhaps, than Syracuse. And they have a Hall of Fame coach in Jim Boeheim.
And to round up the show, I got a question from a fan, Sam Shoki of Prospect High School. He told us, you specifically.
Wow. Thank you for the question.
Who are your top 3 collegiate players right now? And if we're listening to what you were just saying, we'd honestly have taken some out of that. But
man, that's a really good question, actually. Right now, even though he will not be as good as this player, I think Buddy Hield this year is the best player in the country. Look what he has done to this Oklahoma program. They were a team that were like this last year. We didn't hear much about them. This year we've heard a lot more about them.
So Buddy Hield is your number one.
Number one. Number two.
Let me just ask you this: if Buddy Hield is your number, I know there's a lot more than who's the best player who goes into draft picks. But if Buddy Hield is your number one, why is Ben Simmons your number one pick?
Because Ben Simmons can do a lot more. He is such a
Ben
rare
Simmons
talent.
is a 6 foot.
He's a 6'10" forward. He's a 6'10" forward.
Ben Simmons?
Yes, Ben Simmons is a 6'10" forward from Louisiana State University.
Okay, but do you feel like Ben Simmons will be a good forward in the physicality? Do you feel like he'll be a good forward in the NBA though?
Yes.
Right now, if you look at his scouting report, he lacks in physicality.
Yeah,
we know that physicality is very demanding in the big man game.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's something he can work on.
And Buddy Hield has a little bit more physicality over him.
Yeah, but the thing is, that's something you can work on. Physicality, you can't teach. You can work on it. You can work on good post moves. You know, I see that smile. But Ben Simmons is going to be a better player than Buddy Hield will.
But it's 2016.
He is a rare talent.
Here it is. It's 2016.
He is once in a decade.
Ben Simmons has an awful jumper.
But can he score points? Can he rebound? Can Buddy Hield do all
Let's
three?
see how far that's going to take him when he goes into NBA with no jumper. That's if he develops one.
If you ask any draft analyst, would Buddy Hield be the number one pick?
All right, talk about your second player.
I just said it. It'd be Ben Simmons. Even though this year it's not been the year for Simmons, Buddy Hield's had an amazing year. But overall, it's Ben Simmons number two.
And number three?
You know what? I think I might get a lot of controversy for this one. I'm going Brandon Ingram. I know he's a freshman. He's really good. He's going to be the number two pick, I think. He's brought Duke to a lot. If without Brandon Ingram, where do you think they would be right now? Would they be unranked? Yes, they would be unranked. Brandon Ingram, Ben Simmons, Buddy Hield, 3-1. That's it.
All right, thank you guys so much for tuning in to No Offense Intended once again. I'm playing K. Williams, YU Church. We out here.